me when.
Yeah, go. All right, we are live in Dr. Alli's office.
Hey.
We're live on two places. So we're live on her Instagram and live on mine. I'm going to pin a little comment on mine, what we're chatting about, and Alli's. Hey, Courtney, what's going on?
Hey guys, so I'm Dr. Alli Parisi with Live Free Chiropractic, and this is Anna Bordner with doTERRA Essential Oils. And we're really excited to talk to you today about how to support moms during pregnancy and postpartum, the entire motherhood transition with using essential oils. And we've both had great results with it ourselves, which we'll share with you. And hopefully you guys will get some benefit out of it and learn a little bit more about how to use the essential oils.
Yes, exactly. Okay, thank you for doing that intro while I was awkwardly commenting on
Hey,
my
Nikki.
post. What's going on? All right, so live on mine, live on yours. I have some notes. So thanks, Alli.
Yeah, of course. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, so I'm going to chat. We're going to keep this pretty short for you guys today.
Let's turn yours
there we go.
over.
Thanks. I just wanted to show you to get out of the video.
Yeah.
So today, like she mentioned, we're going to talk a bit about using essential oils for support for your body, for your emotions, for labor, and postpartum, which was something that I was able to experience using natural health solutions with my second child and not my first. So I feel like there's this kind of fun perspective where I was able to kind of experience both and give you some tips on what worked well for me. I know Dr. Alli used essential oils during her pregnancy as well, so what worked for her, and just kind of give you guys an idea of what that could really look like for yourselves. And if you guys have questions, Betsy's on. Hey, Betsy.
Hey, Betsy.
Feel free to ask questions as we go. We can totally do our best to answer those questions as well. And at the end, I'm going to post a link to this document. It's free. I have for you guys at the bottom. Or I can just tell you now, it's bit.ly/TNV Mindful Mamas and MAMAS. So I'll post the link at the end. All right. So how did I get started using oils? I feel like is kind of always a good little intro to get us kind of started and going. So while I love chiropractors, let me start with that because I grew up with an older sister who is a chiropractor. But the thing is, I got to the point where I couldn't just like text her at 2 a.m. asking her what I needed to do. I'm sure you get those texts too. Asking her just different things. What can I use if I'm sick in my pregnancy? Or what can I use on my baby? Or this is how I'm feeling. Do I need to go to the doctor or to the hospital or whatever it may be? And while I knew that I needed to eat right, I knew I needed to exercise, which I was doing a pretty decent job of. I was missing this link between like eating right and exercising and then just like going to the doctor or going to see the chiropractor or to my OB or whoever it may be. I also wasn't aware of, until I got pregnant, kind of semi-aware, kind of something I pushed away until I needed to think about it. Getting rid of toxins in our homes and how much that can really affect our health and our children and our mindset, really. And so I was invited to an essential oils class when I was pregnant with my second child, and I just left feeling so empowered that with a book, like a reference book or a reference app and a box of essential oils, that I could really do so much more for my health, for my family, for my growing family, and for my emotional health as well. And it really started with a bottle. I know we were talking about this, with a bottle of Breathe, because I was basically having panic attacks. Maybe not literally, but being so big, pregnant with this growing belly, it was hard for me to breathe. So there's an essential oil blend called Breathe, which is the respiratory blend. And it's an oil I would use to just help open up my airways, make myself take a breath, make myself take a pause. And at the time, my daughter was teething, so I also diffused it in her room to help her just, again, kind of get rid of that snotty mess that was going on, and just kind of like fell for them hard from there and just never quit using them and grew more into this as a business. And so I wanted you to mention what you were using when you were pregnant.
Sure. Yeah, so we were just talking about
them.
this, and when I was pregnant, I actually suffered from rhinitis, and that basically feels like you have a cold all of pregnancy. So the membranes in my nose were really swollen, and I constantly had a runny and stuffy nose. So it wasn't allergies, it wasn't, a cold or anything like that. It just was a side effect of pregnancy. And so what I did to relieve that, stuffiness is I would diffuse peppermint and lavender at nighttime every night when I was going to sleep, and it was amazing the difference that it made, and where I could actually breathe and lay down on my back, because it was really hard for me to lay flat or on my side and breathe well and get sleep. So it definitely helped me with that so much.
So nice. I know. And how nice that it's like not something that's gonna harm us, which is huge for me. I was the one that would like make my husband clean the bathroom and not know what to use otherwise. Yeah. So I have info for that too, but that's not what we're talking about today. So one of the other things I wanted to mention is, and I'm totally guilty of this too, but when we see like a new baby announcement, right, on Facebook or on Instagram or whatever it may be, we're so quick to offer congratulations, we're so quick to wish good health for the baby, but like, what about mom? Like, what about mom?
So
Mom, like my first child, I had to, they want to wheelchair you out of the hospital. Mm-hmm. I couldn't sit down, so I made them let me walk out of the hospital. It was just terrible. Mm-hmm. And like, you're a new mom and everything's completely changed for you. So like, why not well wishes for mom too and quick healing?
Yeah. So it's so true. And I posted a quote on my Instagram and Facebook a couple months ago, but it was, the birth of a baby is also the birth of a mother.
Yeah.
And that's so important to remember, because us moms, we need to stick together and we need to support each other like the tribe that we are. I mean, our society, we don't really have tribes like we used to. Everyone's very separated. And so we need to remember to stay connected and keep a network and support each other through this.
Oh, I love that.
I know.
We're doing it. We're doing it on Instagram today. So just from that perspective, so we're really just going to focus on from a mom's perspective, what you guys can do to help yourself through labor and through delivery and just being a new mom from that postpartum side. But real quick, little housekeeping thing. I want to tell you guys what it is that makes these essential oils so different. So the company I decided to, my coffee's showing and how fast I'm speaking. The company I decided to partner with after doing tons of research is doTERRA. And really it was the heart behind the company and the numbers behind the company that really got me inspired to really learn more and dive more into it and to really partner with them. So doTERRA is the largest and fastest growing essential oil company in the world, and now there's around 8 million customers, which is amazing. So yeah, it creates a huge sourcing and testing opportunity. So doTERRA sources their oils from all over the world, from over 40 different countries, and over half of those countries are considered developing, which I'll circle back around to. But they go to where these plants are going to be native, where they're going to be the most potent, the most pure form of the plant itself, so that when they distill them into essential oils, we're going to have the most powerful, the most potent essential oils that there are. And the testing part, I think, is amazing. So these oils go through 54 different tests, some of which are done by a third party, which with my background and from the engineering, like, what is the right brain or left brain? Left brain side makes that part of my brain really happy. Very because important. There's so much testing that happens, and what the testing means to us when doTERRA's oils have that certified pure therapeutic grade stamp on them is that they're free from any pesticides, there's no contaminants, they're not diluted with something that we don't know about, and they're safe. So these essential oils are not something that you can get at Bell's Outlet or Target or, gosh, who knows, maybe they sell them at Home Depot. I've been shopping there a lot lately. It's popped into my head. So they're not the same. And we were also talking about this, I was the person that would go on Amazon and buy the biggest bottle of tea tree oil for the cheapest price because value, right? And expect it to do something, and it wouldn't. So when I used doTERRA's tea tree oil, it was a huge awakening for me. And it was just made such a difference. Like when I thought I could use that tea tray I bought off Amazon to help with ear discomfort, and it wouldn't do anything. And when I used doTERRA's, I'm like, oh, this is what's supposed to happen. This is amazing. So just the note on quality and sourcing and purity, and then safety. doTERRA's oils are super potent, so less is more. So I'm going to give you guys kind of some exact recipes in this guide. So I won't go super deep on the exact recipes on this live, but I'll be able to link this at the end so you can have it for reference. Plus you won't remember probably anything I'm saying.
Well, and with the less is more, with the more potent essential oil, you are getting your value because you're just not using as much, so it's lasting longer than you're like pouring the whole bottle in and you're not even getting the benefits of it using the cheaper brands.
And I try to like give this example at classes too when people ask about the diffuser. So there's 3 different ways to use them. We can use them aromatically, we can use them topically, and some of doTERRA's oils you can actually use internally. But this diffuser example, a bottle of wild orange, you can buy through doTERRA, it's like $10 or $11, and there's 250 drops in it, and you have a diffuser that goes for 12 hours and you use 4 drops, so that's like thousands of hours, at least hundreds of hours if I were going to do the math off the top of my head, of diffusing. So it's like the cheapest candle ever, plus you're actually getting side benefits from diffusing. So just wanted to mention that. Okay, let me talk about some oils during labor. Okay, so first thing I have on this guide is really creating an atmosphere of calm, of peacefulness, of joy. You can use essential oils to create the atmosphere that you want to create. If you want more energy, diffuse some peppermint. Peppermint's a beautiful oil to give energy. If you want to go to sleep or you want to be more calm, you diffuse an oil like Serenity, which is the calming blend, and it's a beautiful blend with vanilla and lavender and a few other essential oils. Or you could diffuse something like lavender just by itself to start creating that just like atmosphere of calm. Elevation is another one. It's one of my favorite blends from doTERRA, and it's in a yellow bottle, which gives like this like sense of excitement and happiness to begin with. But there's citrus oils in it, there's sandalwood in it.
I haven't used that one. I'll have to try it.
So good. Yes. Yeah. It's one that you'd want to dilute a little bit if you used it topically, just because you can get a little bit too sensitive. But to diffuse that one, it's just like heavenly. I love that one. Or even Citrus Bliss. So I'm kind of going a little deep here on this first comment, but it's Citrus Bliss is the joyful blend? That might be wrong. No, inspiration blend, something like that. It's a blend of citrus oils with vanilla in it, so it's kind of like a creamsicle.
Oh, that sounds so good.
So like that and peppermint would be an awesome thing to diffuse in your room to just give you that like uplifting feeling. My sister-in-law was recently in the hospital having her baby, and she was saying that nurses in the hospital that weren't even assigned to her were coming into the room just to ask her about the essential oils or to smell them or to experience the diffuser in her room. So it's so neat that we have these cool tools that if you dig into it, there's so much science behind them. And I love that the medical community is coming around and starting to understand that this is actually a part now of like continuing medical education, and you can get like points. What's the term I'm looking for? Credits. You can get credits.
Oh, credits.
In the medical community for as they like do their continuing education credits.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah, cool. I know, it's super good. There's a whole there was last year. I wonder if there is this year at a convention. There's a whole Doctor's Day.
Oh, that's great.
I know, it is. Okay, so it's also I had with my first labor. What's it called when they're not breech, but like
posterior?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's like sunny side up, basically.
So I had horrible back pain, and I thought I could do this without
back labor.
Yes.
So super fun.
Bad.
No.
And I didn't have oils at the time, and I remember telling my doctor, like, I feel like I'm doing like 1,000,000 deadlifts, and I'm so tired.
Yeah, if you think labor is hard, you've never been through back labor. It's worse for sure.
So I finally ended up getting the epidural, which is great. Which may not be everyone's journey on here, but I ended up with an epidural. Kind of wish I had done it sooner. However, I didn't have something like Deep Blue, which is doTERRA's soothing blend, and that is so amazing to calm, just to help soothe any like pain that's happening. I really wish I'd had that during pregnancy, and I actually do use it for deadlift days as well at the gym, but using something like Deep Blue or Aroma Touch, which is the massage blend, would be a beautiful one to have. Like
Deep Blue is something I recommend to all my patients.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it helps so much. I know it's a huge difference.
Oh, and then, like, have you ever worked with, I'm just kind of, like, picturing this and, like, having, like, a doula or something working with you and just being able to give them a little back massage with Aroma Touch or kind of just, like, place your hands on wherever it's really hurting. That'd be so nice to just have, like, that added layer of essential oil. We're talking about speeding up labor. So if you're already in labor, people have sworn by clary sage. It's not something to use before you go into labor, but something to mention to be used only during labor.
So clary sage, would you diffuse it?
So this one says, so I got these tips from a midwife, by the way. She has a book. Her name is Stephanie Fritz. She's the Essential Midwife. And if you guys, I highly recommend if you want to dive deeper in this topic, get her book. It's the first reference book I bought because I was pregnant at the time. So the Essential Midwife, Stephanie Fritz. Really good.
I'm gonna buy that.
Yeah. And it's like $8 on Amazon, so you can't go wrong.
Awesome.
She says to use it on your ankle reflex points. And that it's a uterine tonic.
Cool.
I was unaware
so
of
tones
what that.
the uterus.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know what that word meant.
That's like, there are other tinctures and things like red raspberry leaf tea. I don't know if you've heard of that, but that's something that a lot of women will drink to try to induce labor because it's also uterine tonic. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not one you'd want to use before.
Right.
It can help you.
No,
go
only
into
when
labor.
you have clearance from your doctor that it's okay to, have the baby.
I know.
Safe.
It's almost why I didn't want to mention it, but I'm like, I could have really used that during my first labor.
Yeah.
So calming of like labor pains. So this one during labor, this is a little recipe, and you guys will have the link for this. Use 5 drops lavender and put it in with 2 tablespoons of bath salts, and you can soak in the bath. So this is when you have that clearance and you're allowed to do that.
Yeah,
I was not.
Well, a lot of women now are doing water births.
Yeah.
And so I wonder if you could just put it right in the tub.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
Can they
and
put
some hospitals will let you labor in the tub too. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be so nice. Yeah, so add some Epsom salts to your birth bag, some lavender, and or clary sage, it says on here. And another oil I wanted to mention, which I feel like I would have loved a lot during my birth, is Balance, which is doTERRA's grounding blend. And this has frankincense in it. It has tree oil, so you have this like beautiful, think of trees growing in the ground, obviously with big roots. Yeah,
I love
it's so good. And it's already pre-diluted, and this is one, I heard a birth story, I cannot remember when or where, but it was a doula talking about how she had it on herself, and like the mom was kind of like rocking back and forth, and every time she would like rock forward, this mom would smell it. And this doula story was that after the birth, the mom was like, I don't know what it was, but you smelled like something, and that was like the one thing that kept me grounded throughout this part of the process. So just, you never really know what it is that you're going to be super drawn to during your birth.
Might mention this also, but I think Balance was great for me for postpartum as well.
Yeah.
So I know you're getting to postpartum stuff. But
exactly. It's like this...
It's such a calming...
Yeah. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel a lot calmer. I mean, number one, I just like the smell of it. Like, it just smells good. But I definitely notice, like, a sense of calm over me. And, I mean, just like the name, Balance, it totally just diffuses all the tension and helps you stay centered and balanced.
I totally agree with that. I call it... I feel like I put it in my bathroom, so that way when I can escape to the bathroom for my kids and close the door, I can be like, smell my Balance. Upset stomach. So if I remember like shaking during one of my births and just like feeling nauseous and just like not feeling right. So
which is really common. Yeah. That's really common during labor. Yeah.
Thanks, you're making me feel better.
Some women throw up.
Really?
A lot of women vomit during labor.
Oh yeah,
it's actually
I did hear
really
a story
common.
Of that recently. So having an oil like peppermint, which is really great for calming down your stomach, or an oil like Digest Then, which is the digestive blend, and it's a blend with oils like ginger, peppermint, anise. So it has kind of like a licorice smell to it, but it does a great job of calming your stomach. So it's one that you can either put a drop under your tongue, take it internally, put a drop of peppermint in your ice water, or are you allowed to drink water?
During labor?
Yeah.
I mean, in the hospital, technically no, but
I feel like I did.
I think a lot of doctors are being more lenient about it now. Because it's like in case you have to have a C-section, so it kind of depends on the situation probably.
Yeah. So it's been over 4 years since I had a baby. She's filling in the details for me.
I mean, it's been 2.5 years since I had a baby, so it's not that recent.
I tried to block it all out. This is going to make it a little more pleasant.
I see a lot of women, though, going through this, so yeah.
But it's also a good one if you're not allowed to drink water, you can apply it topically.
Yeah.
So if you have a carrier oil, which is something like fractionated, which just means always liquid coconut oil, doTERRA has it in like an easy to like drop into your hand little bottle, which I would totally recommend having that with you again in like your oils bag for the hospital. Just put a couple drops of the carrier oil, a drop of the peppermint or the digescent, and you can just rub it in and then breathe it in out of your hands. And it gives you just this beautiful sense of just like, it works pretty immediately, so it's not one I recommend before a yoga class. Just saying. Yeah. Anxiety or just like anxious feelings. I thought this was a really neat tip. Add 2 drops of any of these oils, lavender, wild orange, serenity, in a bowl of cool water and soak a washcloth in it. You can wring it out and use it to mop the face or just like your chest or wherever you're wanting your doula or your partner to apply it to you. I always love like a cool washcloth on my forehead. But I thought that was such a neat idea and just something very practical.
Yeah, that's a really good idea.
Yeah. This is also something I wish I knew to help minimize tearing. So clary sage and geranium mixed with carrier oil, and you can massage it hourly is what she suggests into the area. And if you already have torn, there's an oil called helichrysum, and you can apply that as well afterwards. I actually have a cool that kind of brings us into the postpartum section, but one of the things I made after my second child was where did I put it? How do you, perineal? Is that how you say it? I feel like it's, okay, so a perineal spray. And this I made personally, so this is my recipe. In a 4 ounce little glass bottle, you can combine 2 ounces of witch hazel and 2 ounces of water, and then you add 5 drops geranium, which is really, really beautiful for skin, lavender, and frankincense, which are all skin oils where it's going to support the healing process. If it's really bad, you can definitely add the helichrysum as well. Helichrysum is kind of like a liquid Band-Aid type of thing, so people use it a lot.
And I don't know if you have this on there, but something I did was I made padsicles. Have you heard of this? Yeah, so you can put witch hazel and probably the same essential oils in the padsicle.
Absolutely.
And use that. Yeah.
So even if you have it like in a little spritzer bottle, you could like spritz it on there.
So for those of you that don't know what a padsicle is, it's basically like a giant maxi pad, and you put witch hazel and other, essential oils in it.
Hop on
and
like,
you put it.
What are you talking about?
You put it in the freezer, and then it's frozen, and you use that as like a recovery tool, like an ice pack basically that you put on like a pad. And I'm not gonna lie, it was the best thing ever postpartum. It's amazing. Yeah.
Seriously.
And it helps with healing.
So if you take one tip away,
that's
spray for you guys and what a padsicle is.
Yep.
And then the other thing I wish I had known, so are we good on time? So we're gonna like another 5 minutes. Okay. So was cramps. So no one told me, is there like a term for the afterbirth cramps?
I don't know if there's a term for it, but like you mean when you're breastfeeding and your uterus contracts because of the hormones. Yeah.
So that no one told me it was like as bad as a giving birth basically. So with my daughter, I took a lot more pain medication than I did with my son, because with my son I had an oil called Claricom, and Claricom is the women's monthly blend, so you can use it during your time of the month. It helps soothe cramps. It helps with those just PMS, like mean girl symptoms that I tend to experience by swiping it on the back of my neck. And so the first time I really used this oil was after my son was born, and I would swipe it across my lower abdomen. I would do it maybe 3 or 4 times every 10 minutes, and then all of a sudden I would just forget because the cramps would go away. And it was just this like incredible tool that no one really knows about because no one, you know, I had no idea with my daughter. And then with my son, I was so thankful. I had that and the peri spray. Big difference.
Yeah, for sure.
And for those of you who have like bad, maybe monthly cramps, it's one that that stays with me that time of the month, for sure. Let's see, breastfeeding. So chatting a little bit about that. So we all know that it can be painful, right? After those first few days after we get started. And so a good mix for this, I feel like when I did this, I just used lavender and coconut oil. But helichrysum, like I mentioned before, is a really beautiful skin healing oil. So using lavender and helichrysum, and again, you don't even really need to make something out of this. You can just kind of keep your helichrysum and your lavender handy, grab your fractionated coconut oil, do maybe 4 drops of fractionated coconut oil to a drop each lavender and helichrysum, and just rub it in. And that'll
So this is actually on the nipples.
This is actually on the nipples, like where you're hurt. I'm like, remembering
If
the pain.
you say you don't have nipple soreness when you first start breastfeeding, you're lying because it is real. I had cracked nipples for 8 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
Sorry if that's TMI.
No,
but I did,
and then
it was so horrible.
What is it, like Lancino or whatever? I feel like I used that too.
Yeah, I used pretty much every nipple cream on the market that you can think of, and nothing helped. So I would have loved to know about this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know about this at the time, and ultimately it had to do with my son's latch, which we got, corrected through chiropractic and craniosacral therapy and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Was it a tongue tie?
Yeah.
And you can fix that without...
Well, no, he had a tongue tie revision, and then we also did chiropractic and craniosacral to support that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this girl, she can help you.
Yeah.
That's really neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I would just mention before you start feeding your baby, just wash it off. So ideally you would apply it right when you get done feeding, and so that way by the time you feed again, it's not even an issue.
And usually you can just wipe it with your hand or something, right?
Yeah.
You don't even need to be...
Another one for dried or cracked nipples, geranium, myrrh, sandalwood, or even balance, which is interesting. Mixing 5 drops of that with a carrier oil. So another recipe for you in here to try if you would like. Lactation, so something to...
I'm just reading.
I know.
I can't read this far away.
I know, I can't
even with my glasses.
I think this is pretty neat. So to help increase our milk supply, we can do, this is a little recipe for you, 5 to 7 drops of any of these oils. So fennel is the most common one that I know of. Fennel, basil, clary sage, which as you mentioned, and geranium. Into a tablespoon of carrier oil. Then we could massage the breasts, the lymph area above the breast, which would be where? Like right
right
there. And upper back along the spine, which I didn't know. And then you can repeat that daily for up to 10 days. And then again, wash off before nursing. But I've heard some wonderful stories.
Well, so I actually had a roller bottle filled with these essential oils that someone gifted me, and I had a low milk supply also. And what I would do is I would roll it around. I wouldn't even put it right on my nipple. I would do it like around the milk ducts and everything. And so you didn't even really have to worry much about wiping it off because the baby, I mean, maybe sometimes their hands would touch it or something, but you don't have to be as careful because it's not going directly in their mouth.
Then mommy smells good. I love it. And then kind of the last 2 little things I wanted to mention is for just those like postpartum blues, diffusing oils. And I know, having just gone through like a big cycle of massive fatigue in my life, that it can be really hard to even just like get up and put something in the diffuser. But let me try to just encourage you and say it was so worth 30 seconds of my life when I would just get up and put some oils and some water in the diffuser. Maybe just keep a pitcher of water close by your diffusers to make it even easier, eliminate a step, and keep some of your happy oils next to your diffuser. Elevation, Citrus Bliss,
or like especially the first few days, ask your partner to help you with it too.
Oh yes,
because I mean, my husband was like a saint after my son was born. I had breakfast in bed every morning for like the first month. It was amazing. I wish that would happen all the time.
And like from the
but you know, they
aspect.
just want to support us, and sometimes they don't know how. So just tell them like, hey, just start that diffuser right when I wake up in the morning, and I'm sure they'll be more than happy to do that.
And on that note, like, ask for help. Like, don't feel bad about asking for help. Or when someone comes in to see the baby and asks what they can do, just have them do your dishes or something. Like, for real.
Fold some laundry, mop the floor.
Don't feel bad about asking for help, for sure.
Yeah.
And I kind of mentioned this in the beginning, but worth mentioning again, this is when I mentioned this. I said, when you have your house cleaned, because you're not going to be doing it.
No, please don't.
Make sure you're using cleaning products that aren't adding to the toxicity in your home, but giving you actual health benefits. So I have like a whole side training on that. If learning how to have a less toxic home is something you're interested in, definitely feel free to message me, which I think I'm tagged in Alli's stories right now. Mm-hmm. So if you go back to her stories, you can see me.
I can make a comment with your thing too.
All right, cool. And lastly, if this is something that you guys are interested in getting into your homes, reach out to either Alli or myself, shoot us a message, and we can set up like a personal cart based on what you guys need to help you get started. So yeah, I think that's what we wanted to chat about.
I mean,
today.
if you're like preconception where you're trying to get pregnant, or you're pregnant, or you just had a baby, or if you have, you know, a 10-year-old or 20-year-old or 30-year-old, I mean, really all moms, this is for all moms across the board.
Oh yeah.
It can really help support you physically, mentally, and emotionally. So please reach out if you need anything, you're interested in learning more.
Totally.
And I will connect you, Anna.
For sure.
Or I'll help you if I can.
Yes. It made me think of something. And let Dr. Alli know if we should do another one on using oils with babies, because we didn't talk about the babies
That's
today.
something people ask me about a lot.
Okay.
Is like what's safe, what's not safe, how do I use it on babies, and that sort of thing.
Okay, so let us know, comment or something if that's something you guys are interested in too.
Yeah.
And thanks for tuning in.
Thank you guys.
All right.
Aw, thanks, Betsy.
Here, let me type in before we head off. I'm going to type in, I'll do it on yours first.
Okay.
I'm going to be awkward.
Or do you want to take it off the thing?
Oops, hold on.
There you go.
Yeah, I'll type in. Hi. So, this is mine. And then this is the link for the document we're chatting about. I should have put it in my copy and paste. That's a thinker for going forward. All right, there you go.
All right, guys, we're heading off. Thank you so much for joining us. Bye.
Bye. All right, I'm doing the same thing over here. So this is Alli's info. And then the link. Thanks for sticking around, you guys.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.